What's going on, YouTube? I'm with my main man Toto. Alright, he is the man of stupid shit. He plays Redaki, and I want to show you guys what this game is. A lot of people have been asking, like, you know, other card games that you play, how do you get a relief from Yu-Gi-Oh! And all that stuff. So I'm going to jump into this game, Yu-Gi-Oh! Redaki, you know, just to show you guys what the basics are. So he's going to take control of this video and go.
What's going on, YouTube? John Toto. You may know me from nothing at all, ever. Alright. I'm going to explain to you a little bit of the basics of Redaki. Alright, here's how the game starts. Characters. You get 3 of these in the game, and they represent, well, the characters you're going to play as. Let's talk a little bit about card anatomy. Alright, pay no attention to this thing. That thing don't matter. Here's your health. These 3 yellow bars are on each character you play as, and as you deal damage, I'll give you an example of an attack right here. It gets laid, Sonic Slap, gets laid over your opponent's characters, like so. If you notice, when the red bar is filled up here, when all 3 of these bars are filled up, that character is knocked out. You win the game by filling up all 3 red bars. Defense. There are 3 bars on the side of each of the characters, and they range in defense. They range in 3 colors of defenses: red, green, and blue. These are the different colors of attacks you'll find in the game: red, green, blue. Blooper reel. Each of these 3 attacks have a power rating here that gets compared against the defense of a card they're being used against. That's how you determine whether or not an attack's going to hit. Right here we have fancy card art. These feature the character you play as well as, well, fancy additional artwork. This here is Kai. He's the main character that you'll find in the Redaki animated series, premiering on Cartoon Network this month. Check it out! Head over to CartoonNetwork.com for more details. Right here we have the character's name. As you can see, this is Kai. Here's his team affiliation. For those of you who aren't going to pay too much attention to the show but want to try the card game, the team means virtually nothing. You don't need to keep characters that are on the same team together, and there's no real bonus for having multiple characters of the same team. It simply tells you whose team they're on in the show. Kai is Team Stack's leader, and for all intents and purposes, I think he stacks. Okay. The character's effect is down here. I'm sorry, one more note about character names. You play as 3 individual characters. That means even if the character has different names, you can't play 2 Kai. You can, however, play 1 Kai and 1 Maya, even though both of them are on team stacks. Alright? So pay no attention to the team name, just know that this name appears when it counts. Alright. Next we'll come to a character effect. In this case, when you play a Metanoid on me, Metanoid is a type of creature, we'll come to those later. When you play a Metanoid on me, its activated ability can be used without paying this little symbol here. This little symbol represents a Kairu cost. It's the energy system in this game, and for you you Magic players out there, it's like mana. You'll begin the game with 3 Kairu, 3 energy, and you'll get more each turn.
Energy.
Alright. So in this case, if I were to play a Metanoid card, I would pay the cost of 2, printed right here, for my energy above, and I would place it on top of my Kai. Monsters are always played on top of your characters, attacks against your opponent. It's easy to remember, why would you attack yourself? As soon as Metanoid is played on top of Kai, his ability will trigger, allowing me to play Metanoid's effect for free. As you can see here, the game operates on a principle of visibility. So you play with the information you can see. Once I play the Metanoid on Kai, Kai is Metanoid. His defenses will change. They go from being just 300 to 300, 300, 300. And as you'll notice, this card, this defense, is now blue. These 2 are red. When 2 defenses line up in color, i.e. 2 reds, 2 greens, 2 blues, you total them up. So now, whereas if I were to attack my opponent's Kai with Degeneration, I'd pay the cost of 3 and overlay the Degeneration onto Kai. Now, it has no defenses and no effect.
But the 350 gets over the 300. You have to be able to get over this number with this number.
Right.
If this were said opponent's monster.
Which is why, when Kai becomes a Metanoid, he's significantly stronger. Degeneration at 350 won't get over the 600 red. Now, here's what separates monster cards from character cards, besides the fact that you have to pay for a monster card. This name right here, Metanoid Plasma Machine. Zoom in right here. Okay. Whereas you can only have one of each character, you can have up to three of each monster card in your deck. There are several different types of Metanoid in this game, and for the purpose of building a deck, you Metanoid fans out there, each of the different types of Metanoid Plasma, Blue, and Gold, are each individual cards and can be and 3 copies of each can be used. So if you're putting together that Metanoid fan deck after watching this video and liking it in the lower right corner, so you know, you don't have to worry, you don't have to pick your favorite Metanoid. All 3 of them will fit into a deck nicely. Now, the activated effect of the Metanoid, activated ability, is found just like on the character card, right here. There's a cost associated, this is how much energy must be paid.
6.
To gain this effect. In Metanoid's case, I'm allowed to reveal the top card of my deck. If it's an attack, I can play it without paying its cost. These symbols over here, I know some of you more curious fans have been asking, that means nothing. Right? These effects literally have no effect on gameplay whatsoever. Okay, so we talked a little bit about a character card. Kai's going to go away now. See, he's gone. We talked a little bit about a character card. As I said, this is cost right here. The Cairo cost is what has to be paid initially to bring it out. Once he's out, he's out. You don't need to continue paying the 2 every turn. Metanoid's going to go in.
Let's talk about cost.
All right, let's talk about cost. Let's talk about
during gameplay
an attack. All right, when you begin the game, you'll start with 3 energy. Okay? This energy represents the cost you'll need to pay these attacks. There's no limit to the number of attacks you can play, or monsters, cards in your turn, that you can play, except for what's in your hand and how much energy you can pay for it. As you see here, Degeneration costs 3. So, if I wanted to play it, I'd take my energy total, in this case, let's just say 7. 8. I'll play Degeneration. Before I play the card, I move the cost from 8 to 5. Then I reveal to my opponent that my attempt is to play Degeneration. Assuming that attack is successful, we'll get to why it may not be in a bit. It's played. I tell my opponent which of his characters, there will be 3 of them, which of these characters I've decided to play against. In this case, Degeneration at 350 is capable of hitting all of them, but for obvious reasons, I may want to hit Zane first.
by reading effects.
Right. You'll determine who the ideal targets are by taking a look at what their effects are and what might be the most advantageous play at the time. So in this case, I'll tell my opponent that by paying 3 that I plan to use Degeneration on Zane. Assuming nothing is added or detracted from its power, we'll compare the 350 power here to Zane's defense of 300. In this case, Degeneration hits successfully and will be laid on top of Zane, covering up all of his defenses for future attacks, as well as his effect in case my opponent plans on playing a Redaki.
Talk about the increase of mana, energy, whatever you want to cost.
I know some of you guys may be saying, well, if I only have 3 energy, how am I supposed to play more than 1 attack? And more importantly, what are the rest of the numbers doing on top of this little plastic thing? Well, funny story. Magic players, how would you feel if Richard Garfield and his friends let you get free land every turn? Well, the boys over at Spin Master have done just that. You'll begin the game with 3 energy. As you play cards, your energy will decrease. At the beginning of each of your turns, in addition to drawing a card for your turn, you'll gain 1 additional energy, and all the energy you've spent will go back as well. it's like getting a free land every turn. Now,
They offer that actually.
this will increase every turn. The player going first will begin the game at 4 energy, because the game does count the first turn. That's right. Unlike Yu-Gi-Oh! And unlike the way Pokemon used to be, there is no disadvantage going first in this game, so feel free to win as many die rolls as you can. Now, at some point during your game, you may notice the counter only goes to 20. While you will still recharge this amount completely, you can never go over 20 energy. Further, if a combination of cards would force you to pay more than 20 energy for a card, you simply cannot pay that card. Nor can you, nor if you would recharge energy, can you overpay. For example, pause that. Yep. Alright, let's take a look at a special type of card here. Feather Daggers. Alright, Feather Daggers deals damage to the middle bar, has 950 power, and is a green attack. It costs 7 energy to use, so remember, you'll take your counter from 20 to 13 when you try to use it. Now, if this is successful, remember that for a card to hit, its power must be greater than the defense of its target. Okay? If Feather Daggers is successfully hit, meaning it's laid over a character, you'll recharge 6 energy. Alright? So we'll go from 13 back to 19. Now, if you're going to recharge energy, that happens after the attack is successful, which means you can't pay for a card just because of the energy. You regain the energy. So if I play a card that costs 7, I can't use the 6 until I know Feather Daggers is successful. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about one last little trick to the game: defending. You'll notice on some cards there's a section called a react step. After declaring that I want to attack and who I'm going to attack, there's what's called the react step, which, as the turn player, I have the first priority to use secondary effects of cards that boost or decrease or have additional effects to the attack in play.
It helps, I guess.
If using a react, let's say this is on my opponent's turn, which is the optimal time to use Sonic Slap, I pay this cost here instead of the cost up here to use this from my hand. Remember that a react cannot be paid on the same card that's being used to attack. So in this case, Sonic Slap is a defense. It won't be it'll go to the discard pile instead of being laid over my opponent and won't do any damage. I'll pay the 2 energy, I'll discard the card from my hand, and I'll stop, which means defend the attack played. In the case of Sonic Slap, that the replay card goes back to my opponent's hand, making this good against exceptionally strong attacks that may have, like Super Nami, which costs 15, that my opponent simply won't be able to play 2 of in a turn.
Broken. Right there.
Yes, it is.
That's it.
Alright, so I hope you guys liked this little tutorial into Redaki. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. And hopefully you'll see more of, we'll see some of you guys out there at the tables. And hopefully we'll get a few more of these videos in so we can take you guys through the wide world of the Kairu battle. Thanks and good night.